There you are again. Hello, hello. This is Lady Lou, the baby boomer babe, and we're here today with our daily Reset for Success show. And I know it's Saturday, but we had to have this show because Kristine Farley, our guest host today, has something really, really important for these times. She homeschooled her children, and she wants you to know a little more about how to do it because I know my nephew and his wife are struggling with their 6 year old, and she's in the first grade. They don't really understand how to homeschool because they're used to the routine of going to school and then she goes to her school and then she comes home at night. So a lot of you out there during this time when we have to stay home, you're having to homeschool your children. I know the internet's there to help and the teachers are sending homework, but it's still difficult if you've never done it. And it's tough because
I can't even imagine it.
even mom doesn't know. She has never had to do this, and maybe dad is helping, and they need some help. So that's why we came on today as a special show with Kristine. But let me introduce my other co-host, my main co-host, Marian LaSalle. Say hi, Marian.
Hello. I am really glad that you're here today. And I bet if you're here today, you have children, or you at least know somebody who has children who need to be homeschooled. We really wanted to bring you this information today. We're not normally here on Saturdays, so we just really knew this was needed. So thank you again, Kristine, for coming on today to help us get through this nightmare or heaven, however you look at it.
Right. Well, go ahead, Kristine. We're going to let you have the show because we don't have that kind of experience like you do, but we'll have some questions along the way.
Thank you. Appreciate the opportunity. I started homeschooling my children in 1988, and I was pregnant with my fourth child at that time. I have a total of 7 children and homeschooled all of them. We kind of did a little bit of integration with some of the school things if they chose to, but basically I was homeschooling 7 children all the way through. And at one point I was a single mom and they went to school part-time and but then came back to homeschooling. So just wanted to pop in and say I have years of experience with this. So, and today I have 3 different tip areas or topics to share. And, I know that most of you are kind of thrown into this. You didn't have any research time, no study time, no prep time. This is just life now. So my number 1 tip is have a routine, not a schedule. And you need to talk and plan what works for you and your children, and you create an order of what comes next and maybe even put it on a chart and have it posted for everybody to know. We're going to have breakfast, and after breakfast is math time or reading time or however you're going to do it. And then there's playtime when those things are accomplished, or there's some chores. Just make a routine. I have found that having a schedule with at this time we're doing this, it becomes too dogmatic, and maybe you have some personalities in your family with children or yourself that don't like to be told what to do exactly when.
I'm one of those.
I'm one of those too. Or maybe you have some that need the routine. So this at least gives them a grounding point to know, okay, I know what's going to come next. So it helps for all personalities. And another part of this is to give yourself and your children some grace, because we're all in a time that is changing and different. And at this time, we need to recognize that we have emotions that we don't know how to even express or what they are. And most of the time they are grief. It is grief for what was and how things have been. And now, it's all different.
Yeah. It's been a chore for all of us because we don't know how to cope. What happened? Our jobs, our lives have been pulled out from under us.
Absolutely.
And no one could have predicted this. Unless you're psychic, you couldn't have predicted the amount of change in our world, not just here in the United States, worldwide. It's bringing us all together because we're all in this together doing the same thing, every one of us.
Yes. And in a very short period of time, this happened it was like hour by hour, day by day, major, big, huge changes. So we're all having to adjust. So right there as a part of the routine is plan for a nap and quiet time, and use this to catch up with your own breath, use that for your personal time to recharge. And I used to just tell the kids, some of them obviously weren't at napping age with 7 and them being born about every 2 years apart. So they just needed some space. I needed space. But at first I started using that time to catch up on housework. That was a big mistake. And that is called the key to burnout. So taking this quiet time or nap time for yourself to recharge, play the piano if that's your gig, go outside and dig in the dirt, just lay in the sun maybe, or read a book, whatever it is that helps recharge you.
Oh, yeah.
So those are my areas of the routine tips.
Good. That was great, because we need to do that. And routine is something we can all swing with. It just flows.
And it gives everybody, and especially when you're creating the routine, I would suggest having a family council meeting for that, because what it does is it gives everybody something that they can kind of count on. And we live in pretty turbulent times. So there's some security with having a schedule.
Kristine, I can relate this back to some business information that I went through, where as a speaker, as a trainer, I was taught to tell them what I'm going to teach them, and then tell them what I taught them. It's like so they know what's coming, they know what to expect. And then when it's coming, when it's here, they're not like, well, I didn't know this was happening. And their brain goes all freaky. So it's the same type of thing you're talking about with your children, right?
Well, and they're used to the regiment of school, and that kind of thing. And so maybe we don't put a time on those kinds of things because some of us don't handle that kind of tight schedule, but at least we have what we know is happening next. And in your routine, I would include household responsibilities.
Yes.
And that the children, and I'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute, but everybody can contribute to that. So, but before we go there, I want to talk about one of my favorite topics, and that is to have fun. And especially now, it is really important to have some fun, to be able to laugh and release stress, because fun and laughter releases stress. It creates endorphins and we feel so much better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know. It's important. Otherwise we get it all bottled up and it explodes.
Well, and then we're just going to freeze up, and some people are going to just go inside and they're not going to be able to function well. And we need everybody functioning well during this time.
Right.
So under this topic, I have a couple of tips. Number one, turn off electronics for a certain period of time. I know, even turn off for us adults. Set those phones down, and we live in a different time. Let's not be so attached to it, and let's not pattern that example for our children that we are so attached to it. And in so doing, we will have time then to either play games, do creative projects, cook together, and even let your children play. I know that play used to be a real big part of my children's life, but it seems that now we have our children so regimented about school and after school activities and things, they have no time to really be children and play, and they've forgotten how.
A lot of them. Yeah. Well, they get too caught up in the electronics. They forgot that going out and playing on the swing or something, if you've got one in your own yard.
I remember as a child, we had playtime outside, our parents would just like, go and come back when the street lights come on. And so my sister and I, we used to, like in the fall when the leaves would come down, we used to rake them in the front yard to make rooms, and we would pretend, we had a house in the front yard. I don't know, we were just having fun outside, just playing, just, who knows what we were doing.
Yeah,
we just had fun.
Yeah.
Yes. And really, thank God, literally, that this is all happening at springtime, that it's not in the dead of winter. That the kids, if you have a backyard, now I know some people are quarantined and they're told not to go outside. But if you have a fenced backyard or a backyard area, I would certainly, well, don't go against your government officials, but I would certainly send my children outside, and I would even give them a shovel and let them dig a hole and bring some of their trucks and cars and add water to it and get dirty and all those kinds of things and loosen up on some of that. And some people would say, you want your kids to dig a hole? Yeah, let them dig a hole. Yes, it's a nice, beautiful lawn, but there's something about digging holes that kids just really, they love that.
Yes. My nephew's little 6-year-old is a rock hound. I don't know what it is about rocks, any size. She just collects them and plays with them. She was out there washing them the other day. They were big chunks. She was washing them and she got all muddy. And my nephew just let her play. And she was just filthy when she finished, but she was happy.
Well, and there's something about getting outside, playing in the dirt, interacting with nature, looking at the birds. Maybe you have birds coming into your yard and the kids want to know, well, what kind of bird is that? And so you look it up and that kind of thing. What kind of rock is this? And I love what Marian said about using your imagination. And, dress up was a big thing at our house.
Yeah.
And, putting on different clothes or costumes and pretending to be superheroes or princesses or whatever, really using imagination, because when children are learning by rote or regimented, that part of that creative part of the brain kind of gets pushed aside a lot. Yeah. And it doesn't get developed. And so I think it's really important to just have fun, use your imagination. And then when you do decide to watch a movie, pop some popcorn and make it into a really fun activity for the whole family, or make game night fun.
Yeah. We've all got a Monopoly set somewhere.
Well, we looked for ours and couldn't find it, but we ended up playing Rummy the other night.
Oh, that's beautiful, Kristine.
I can relate to this as growing up in Michigan in the wintertime. Like you said, we were cooped up. And so we played ping pong, we played euchre, we played Monopoly, whatever game we happened to have around the house. We made up games. So I totally get it. Playtime was important for us.
It is vital, and it's also vital for us as adults to have some playtime of our own. And that's where I get into tip number 3, and that is take care of yourself, because if you don't, it's not going to be pretty for very long.
I know. So ladies, because we ladies are too much into helping everyone else and we forget about ourselves.
It is our natural instinct to nurture and to take charge. And so I have a couple tips that will help with this. And one is share the household responsibilities with your children. And some people are probably going to say, well, I can't get my kids to do anything. Well, I have to say it, as moms, you sure can.
Yeah.
And, it is not a matter of negotiating, because as my kids would say, my mom doesn't negotiate with kids or terrorists. So, and when they were saying, we want to negotiate, and I'd look at them and repeat that phrase and they go, oh, yeah, all right. So everybody now is at home. And so in so doing, we need to divide up the responsibilities. And it's a great way for kids to learn, and learn not just responsibility, but learn their brain will function better, and they will be able to go on in future things in their life with more responsibility. They will be able to have more self-respect. And it's important that we help them to learn how to share in these responsibilities. And even young children as young as 18 months can learn to pick up the toys and put them back in the basket.
And really?
They can. And they can learn how to put silverware in the different slots. That's really good for them to, divide things up like that. And it's important that they have opportunities to learn how to cook. I remember my first child went off to college, and she called me. That was back in the day. We only talked once a week, because we didn't have cell phones and that kind of thing. But we talked, and she was having to teach her roommates how to do laundry. And these are 18, 19, 20-year-olds, how to clean a bathroom and how to cook basic foods. So
I get it.
Yeah. And not only that, in doing this, your kids are going to feel better about themselves. And besides that, they're going to learn skills that will enhance their educational learning.
Yes.
And that's one of the things that in schools, lots of times, the home ec and those kinds of things, but everybody has to do laundry, right?
Yeah.
Well,
so by the time my kids were 12 years old, they were doing their own laundry, and they had a laundry day that was assigned, and that's when they got to use the washer and dryer.
And here is a tip for those mothers who think that you're doing your kid a justice by doing it all for them. Okay, that was my mom. And my mom thought, she was being a great mom. So she'd never made me do anything. I wasn't even allowed in the kitchen because I might make a mess, and, you don't need to be in here. So when I got out on my own, the first place I went was actually my sister invited me to her house in California, and it was an apartment, and she had 2 roommates. Well, they thought, hey, let's let her do our laundry, and that'll pay for her rent, right? Well, this was back before, anyway, I turned everybody's underwear pink. Anything that was white, because they didn't tell me. No one told me. I'm sorry. And when the casserole came out and the noodles were still crunchy, no one told me I had to boil the noodles first. Hello? Mom, you did not do me justice by making it so that I didn't have to do anything as a child.
Right.
I'm telling you.
It's so important. And, your older ones can help with the younger ones, teaching and training them. And if they make a mess in the kitchen while they're cooking, part of that is learning how to clean it up.
Yes, definitely.
And these are just basic also hygiene and life skills.
Right.
And so it's important. And if you have a spouse or a partner that's home helping you, that's there, share the responsibility for the children's needs with them.
Yeah.
Just because you're a woman doesn't mean that it's all yours. I was speaking with a gal yesterday. She has 3 kids that are on the autistic spectrum. She works from home now, of course, but she works from home like 12 hours a day.
Wow.
And there is no way it would be possible for her to do that, as well as clean the house, manage the meals, and all of those other kinds of things. Everybody has to pitch in. Mm-hmm. So every circumstance is unique. And so you can find a way to work it together.
Yeah. And get everybody in on that meeting. So somebody might like to do laundry, but they don't want to go clean the bathroom, so they can divide them up that, okay, since you like to scrub, let's let you do that today. And then I'll go ahead and do your laundry. Or sometimes you can negotiate little things like that.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, that's big, Kristine. That is really big. Because sometimes we don't know how to do that because we never had to do it before or whatever. But I was raised on a farm. Well, we moved there when I was 6. So we always had chores outside, cows to milk, chickens to feed and water, and pigs to slop. And, it was always something outside. And we kids just loved to be outside. We didn't want to stay in the house and learn to cook. My mother had to drag us back into the house. Okay, you're going to learn to cook. And we did eventually learn to cook, but we would rather be outside. So this is a tough time for kids. They want to be outside or else working on the computer or the cell phone or something like that. And that's just not possible now. They still have to study. And that's where your routine comes in, right, Kristine?
It is. It is. And if you're having a hard time getting your children into the cooking or any of those kinds of things, have them make cookies. Do it together. Something sweet, because then they associate cooking with something sweet, and then they can start going into other things like, how do you make a salad, or how do you cook some vegetables and things like that.
I love that. That is a great tip.
That's beautiful. Well, lately I've been cooking like once every 3 or 4 days because I cook enough for 3 or 4 meals. Mm-hmm. And it is easier for me that way because I don't want to go to the kitchen every day. I just want to heat something up. And it works better for me but if you have a family, each meal is probably going to be consumed. So they have to start all over the next day.
They might, unless they make doubles. And I used to make doubles or triples and feed the freezer. And then on days that I didn't want to or couldn't, or the kids didn't want to or couldn't, there was always something ready to go.
And the big thing I'm finding, even though I'm here alone, is to mark the containers, what's in them, and date them. I get some of this stuff, and my God, it's whole frostbitten. I can't eat it, but I didn't date it, so I don't know when I put it in there.
Yeah, really important there. So I just wanted to, the last thing I wanted to share is really encourage you to take time for yourself and for your personal interests. And to support that, I have a freebie. And it is in a link, and it is My Self-Care Fundamentals Revealed, and it is my top favorite, best self-care things, and I love it and want you to have it. And then next week, I will be on Facebook and every day at Joyful Empowerment with Kristine Farley, which is my business page, and I will have a daily homeschool video series to support you and help you in this endeavor and give you encouragement and ideas.
Great. Now, do they have to join or follow? No.
They just go into Facebook and find Joyful Empowerment with Kristine Farley, like it, and that will automatically follow it. Then they'll receive a notification when I put a post in there. Okay. And they will be in there. I'm not sure exactly what time of day the videos will be put in there, but they will be in there for the next 5 days, Monday through Friday next week, to just give you some extra support, maybe even make you laugh a little or have a creative thought, or maybe some really concrete resources.
Oh, that's wonderful. Thank you for doing that, Kristine. We're going to go watch too, even though we don't have children at home.
And there
are lots of us that are grandmothers that are also helping out our family members with childcare. And so these are for not just parents, but for grandparents too.
The link for Kristine's giveaway, her gift for you today, is down in the description below, and that's on YouTube and Facebook under Natural Curiosity. And we would love for you to be able to take advantage of meeting with Kristine and just getting more information about your homeschooling and your joy needs.
Exactly. Oh, I love that. Thank you, Kristine. We're so glad you could come back on and do this special show for us. because I do believe it's a very needed topic, and we'll be promoting it. And we'd ask our viewers if you would also share it on Facebook and go to YouTube. You can share it there. In fact, YouTube is the easiest way I found to share it, because when you hit the little share button under the video, it pops up all these ways you can share it. And I share 5 or 6 different ways just from YouTube. It's easy, very easy.
Well, thank you, ladies, for the opportunity. And I know that it is important to support all of these women, men, and grandparents at this time with homeschooling their kids.
It certainly is. And we appreciate you coming back on like this. So, Marian, do you have anything else to wrap us up?
I'm just grateful for you, and I'm grateful for Kristine. I'm grateful for Lady Lou. We are showing up because we want to be here. And so we want you to be able to take advantage of this. We are here almost every single day, Monday through Friday. And look, today's Saturday and we're here. So if we have something that you want us to cover, you just let us know. We're here live on Facebook and YouTube. And then we're also on your favorite podcast apps. So be sure and join us anytime you can. Once again, I'm Marian LaSalle, my co-host, Lady Lou, and our guest today, Kristine Farley. Thank you, and we'll see you again soon.
Thank you.
We appreciate you all for being here.